everybody, and welcome to another Florida-friendly landscaping educational program. This one is a bit of a surprise program, unadvertised surprise. I've invited my friend, Mary Herden, to talk to us today about a special topic that we don't hear a whole lot about. Alice is an education specialist at the Chinsegut Conservation Center here in Hernando County. She's also an adventure buddy and photography mentor for me. I try once a month or so to go on some adventure. Well, the weather's cool. She calls me her cool weather friend.
So true.
Yes, you may remember if you look back on some of our YouTube videos, Alice did a program on gardening for gopher tortoises.
Yes.
So her latest interest has been in exploring lichen. So that is what we're going to cover today. So Alice, I'm going to let you take it away.
Well, you know what, Lily, thank you so much for inviting me. I love doing all these projects with you. It's such an inspiration. And it's also a good way to educate not only, the people that visit the, Chinsegut Conservation Center, but also homeowners as well, because lichen is everywhere. So
yes, it is. And I know that for the master gardeners at the county extension office, it's not uncommon for someone to bring in a branch of a crepe myrtle or some other type of ornamental plant and ask what's wrong with it. And there's actually nothing wrong with it. So I'll let you explain all about lichen.
Okay, just to formality here that I am not a lichenologist, but this presentation is geared towards getting people to know just the basics about lichen, the importance of it, and especially for wildlife as well. So let's get started.
I'd like to be a lichenologist just because that's a cool name.
That is a very cool name.
Yes.
That is. Okay, so this presentation, we're going to be talking about what they are, the common lichen, the importance to wildlife, and exploring lichen in the woods. And also, our favorite is the macro photography. Lichen actually helps us breathe, believe it or not. And I'll go into that detail a little bit. And here is a perfect example of what lichen looks like. And I'm sure that everybody has seen this before on trees, especially on their oak trees. So lichen, let me move this out of the way. They grow on bark, tree bark, branches, rocks, even bones, gravestones, and on the ground. And they may appear to be odd, and one may think that it's causing some damages to your trees, but actually lichen are bioindicators. The more lichen, the more cleaner the air. And it's really not damaging any of your trees, but you have to respect them because they are so slow growing. They will grow less than a millimeter per year. So what makes lichen a lichen? Fungus and algae have this special biological relationship, food and protection. The algae can produce food by photosynthesis, but fungi cannot produce food on their own. The fungus provides protective exterior surface to the algae. This enables the algae to exist in full sun, thus maximizing its ability to produce food for both of them. So this mutual beneficial relationship is called symbiosis. So a little bit of biology here is the fungus and algae both produce an organism called lichen. So what is the fungus? Fungus do not contain chlorophyll or any other means of producing their own food, so they rely on other organisms like algae for nutrition. Fungi are widely known for their role in the decomposition of organic matter. This website right here, if you wanted to go to fs.fed.us, there has And I'll have other links at the end of this presentation too as well to get more information if you wanted to dive in more deeply into learning more about lichen. Then algae. There are several types of algae. Oh, excuse me. The red, sorry about that. Red and gold, there are actually bacteria. The blue is common name, refers to the fact that they need water to live. And also green algae refers to the photosynthetic abilities like green algae. So parts of the lichen. So here we have the upper cortex. This is the algae layer. This is the medulla. And then the lower cortex is here. And then the rhizomes. So the medulla, this part, is the part of the fungus that stores nutrients. And then the basal structures known as rhizomes, they are, so they'll be able to attach to the surface or the substrate of either the rock or the tree bark. And then we have the partner terms, which is microbiot, which is a fungal partner, is responsible for providing shelter and absorbing water and nutrients for the algae. The photobiot is the algae partner. The main function of the photobiot is to undergo the photosynthesis, providing food for the fungi. It's a lot of technical terms and terminology that has to do with lichen. And believe me, I've been trying to study all this and cram it in my head, and sometimes it just doesn't stick. But we'll get to the basics of knowing what or how to identify what a lichen is when you see it on the tree. So there's 3 types of growths of lichen. We have the crustose, which is this right here. And we have the fruticose, which is the shrubby, and the foliose, which is like a peeling paint. This is very interesting. This is actually a lichen. This is a fruticose lichen. One of my favorite growing parts of the lichen is the body of it. This is called the thallus. And these types of fruticose lichens are called cladonia, and they grow erect, upwards. So they are usually found near algae or moss that is growing on either the rocks or other ground surfaces, lower ground surfaces. And this right here is the apothecia, which is the production of the spores. So many things to learn about this. This is another fruticose lichen. This is called the Sanya. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but most of the time these are hanging from the tree branches. You can see these all over the place when you are in a oak hammock or in your trees in your neighborhood as well. And what is super, super cool is this is another fruticose. This is one of those like bearded lichen. And what is really cool about this, when you take the core of it and you try to stretch it, it's a little bit of bouncy, like stretchy material. But if you stretch it out just a tad, inside this stem here is actually the inner cord. So when you go out there, you'll be able to, find a bearded lichen and then take just that little piece and kind of stretch it. It's like stretchy material. And inside of it is that. This is a foliose. This is one of those ones that look like the peeling paint. And inside, or these are some of the body parts of it, which is the cilia. This is those black hair-like things. And then these little black dots are the spores. And this is the apothecia, which is where the spores are coming from. And then, of course, when I have this project, this workshop, it was at Chinsegut Conservation Center. And these are the ones we went on a little field trip. So they had to find three different types of growth of lichen. And these are the ones that are common, not only at Chinsegut Conservation Center, but also you can probably find them in your own backyard. This would be a great project for your kids. We have the white marsh lichen. This is a crudicose. The Christmas lichen. Shield lichen. This is that peeling paint that looks like peeling paint. And this is deer moss. Now this is really, really special. Everybody thinks this is actually a moss, but it's a lichen. And there is a rare species here in Florida that is called a Florida perforated cladonia. And it only has 16 populations in the state of Florida. So 16 little populations. So they're trying to bring back that population into the wild. This is the bearded lichen. And also, remember I told you about that cord. So if you take and stretch those long cords out, and they'll stretchy, and then you pull just slightly apart, and then there's that cord. This is powderhorn lichen, these right here that are sticking up. And along here, these are mosses. These are like 2 different species of moss right in this area right here. This is very super cool. I first found out about this particular lichen was when I was taking a walk at Chinsegut Conservation Center on the Gopher Tortoise Trail. And I was like, what in the world is that? And that is a lichen, and it's called bloodstain lichen. Remember these little cilia, these are off the shield lichen right here. So where do lichen grow? They grow everywhere. So the more, and actually the better air quality, the more lichen that you're going to see. And this is actually in our sinkhole property, where the Chinsegut Conservation Center part just beyond the boardwalk at Mays Prairie. There's a sinkhole that you can take a trail to, and this is overlooking that area. Lichen in wildlife, very, very important. Lichen is used for nesting materials for birds, especially the hummingbirds. If you ever get a chance to look at a hummingbird nest, you'll be able to see some of the lichen that's in there. They're also food for deer and slugs as well. And they make great camouflage for insects like this grizzled mantis right here. Kind of blends in with all that lichen, the coloration. So very important for wildlife. And up here, if you, I hope you all can see my mouse, but up here, let's say just to the left of the mantis is these little black squiggly lines. That is also a lichen. It's called a script lichen. Some things you just learn, it's crazy. So things that you can do, you can explore lichen at home, and you can try to find all 3 of those types of growths of lichen. Here's a couple of growths right now on our tree back in the backyard. You can explore lichen through macro photography, talking about how important it is for wildlife and other insect species. This is one little tiny spider that I took a photo of when I had my macro lens on with 2 of my extension tubes, and Haven't found out what this species of spider is, but if I had the opportunity to name it, a common name, it would be a lichen spider because of all the green spots on them. And then you can explore through the microscope if you are fortunate enough to have a microscope at home. Oh, that's one on my checklist. But if you're at school, if you're a teacher or educator, take a piece of that lichen, put it underneath the microscope, and see what you find. Because during our time when we had our classroom activity during this presentation, we had microscopes set up, and they were able to look through the microscope at the lichen that they collected. And we had found one of these little orange bugs by this bloodstained lichen just hanging out there. Have not been able to identify it as yet. Hopefully somebody will be able to identify that on iNaturalist that I posted. So it's really just an amazing world when you start looking through the lens and start learning new things about nature. And especially lichen has probably got a long, I mean, it would probably take me a year to learn everything about lichen, but I have that, now I have that baseline, and now you should be able to have that baseline to know those 3 types of growth that lichen are, how important it is, and also just exploring nature and getting out there and learning new what's in your backyard. So I just want to say thank you so much for letting me share with you this presentation. And also the links I have here, we'll be able to put that at the bottom of your channel or somewhere that we can, Lilly?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll get all
What
these.
we can do is, the easiest way to do this is if you can send me a PDF of this PowerPoint,
Absolutely.
and then whoever's interested can email me at LillyB, LILLYB, at hernandocounty.us and say, hey, I'd like a PDF of that lichen presentation. And then you'll get all these cool pictures and be able to refer back to the, the names. See, I have a vested interest in asking you for that PDF because then it'll help me remember.
Yes,
those
yeah,
names
definitely,
as well.
definitely.
I've seen, the script lichen. I took a picture of that probably 6 months ago and, just kind of set it aside in my brain, and I didn't know what it was and hadn't had an answer till right now. You just told me what it is. So.
It is amazing how many different, you have so many classes, and the taxonomy of lichen is like out of this world, but there's just
it is. It's a whole totally different world. Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to plug this for us, if you don't mind, our upcoming program together, which I love doing programs with you, Lilly. It's going to be our National Bird Day, January 5th at Chinsegut Conservation Center. More will be posted on the Facebook page, and also at Chinsegut at myFWC/Chinsegut. That will give you some more detail about this full day event that me and Lilly are putting together, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, you're putting the full day together. I'm helping with
well, yeah, I am, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be.
Yes, we're going to do a birdscaping program together.
Yes.
I'll probably, do some of the talking, and you'll do some of the hands-on, and to present to people how to attract more birds to your urban landscape. Yeah. You don't have to live out in the woods, or have the opportunity to go there several times a week like you do.
Yes.
And to be able to attract different birds, and we're going to talk about that, birdscaping. So
that and
And,
with common birds and everything that are going to be visiting your bird feeder. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to combine together, and I'm really, really excited about it. So
and if you're not able to make it out there, I'm also kind of have a bit of a truncated version of it available for online viewing.
yeah,
as
absolutely.
well.
That would be fun. That would be
Yeah.
super fun.
Mhm.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed it. I know it was kind of like rushed. There's so much information about lichen, and just remember, you know, it's not hurting your trees or doing anything. It's actually a great indicator of how your air quality is around where you're living. So it's,
Yes, I have a little story about that. As you know, we purchased the lot next door to us, so now we have an acre instead of a half an acre.
yeah,
And we had Thanksgiving out in our lot that we're clearing away the underbrush, but we're just going to keep it as natural as possible. And I'm sitting there with my family, sisters, things like that. And I said, in the middle of nowhere, it's kind of like one of those Facebook memes where you see somebody says nothing and then somebody says something else totally random. And I said, you see, and I called it reindeer moss because that is the common vernacular, said, see that reindeer moss? That's endemic to Florida. And they looked at me like, I went back to their pumpkin pies, but well, they actually did question reindeer in Florida. And I said, oh, well, it's also called deer moss, if that makes sense. So yeah, I have a good deal of it in that lot. And it makes me feel kind of good because there's a whole lot of building going on. And when they clear cut everything. So at least I'm saving some of that. And now I want to go out there and look for, well, I've seen, of course, the Christmas moss. I didn't know that was its name.
Christmas
And I
lichen.
swear we've taken the same picture of the same Christmas lichen, sorry, and at Chinsegut on the trail. It looks exactly.
Yeah. So now you have your project, and everybody else has had their project to see if they can find and locate those three types of
I want to look for
lichen.
that blood stain. It actually looks like red blood cells to me. It looks like red blood cells under a microscope or something. And
it is. It's super cool. It is. I mean, it's, again, you're learning what's in your backyard, what's good for your landscape.
And like you said, lichen is not just on trees. There's on stones. We've seen it on cemetery stones.
Yep.
There's even a particular kind of metal lichen, which will grow. So go out and look at stop signs or things like that, and you'll see, or old metal gates or something, you'll see some growing on that.
Yeah.
Now that's a particular kind that prefers metal as it, or rusting metal as its substrate. It's a whole new world, you don't have to go to outer space when there's
no. Oh no, you don't. If you get that
world right here.
If you are able to get a microscope or even maybe a macro photography, get into that. I mean, it is just amazing what you don't see, and it's
before
so
our next get together here. I have something for you to study aside from the bird study. Our next get together on lichen. Here's what I want to know. What uses for humans have we found for it, if any? Like medicinal, or you were mentioning the stretchy kind. I was wondering if way back when they may have used it to bind some small wounds, like spider webs, so.
Well, that's it. That's the thing about, that's where I'm not a biologist,
Right.
I'm not, certified in telling you this is you can eat that. So I don't
we don't want to talk about edibles. No,
but,
I stay away from that too.
But even that, I don't know. I've with all the research that I have done, I know they did some type of dye. So that is something that I mean, that's
years down the road.
A link away.
Okay, well,
it was hard enough for me to try to learn the three concepts of just, the whole thing right there.
Well, then I'll inspire our listeners, or if we have any kids out there listening, go find out. whatever
Yeah.
it is you want to know about lichen. And get out there and explore. Got a whole world right out there in your own yard, actually.
You know, and
And
I wouldn't mind them if they wanted to send some photos of what they found, and
Sure.
you know, to send that to you or to me, or I
Mhm.
mean, it would be fascinating to see, you know, how much everybody can see all this stuff and say, oh, look at what I found, look what I found, and then I mean, you know now. So you're
Yes.
learning, that's the main thing, is that you get that. I think between, you know, with Lilly and what we're doing at the center is that we're trying to help people get into some type of outdoor activity, education, and
Mhm.
also to inspire, to learn more about either, you know, trying to have a better landscape, and the ecosystems. And it's amazing what Florida has to offer.
Yes, and yeah, you kind of inspired. Maybe we should do a series. And where I'm originally from in Western Pennsylvania, just their way of saying things, if they're surprised, just the way they say it, they're like, get out. That's what we should name it. Get out.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get
That'd be
outside.
a great series. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm all for it. If anything to help you and your listeners to, you know, to learn more about what's in their backyard, from insects to plants and what have you, you know, and either stop by the center and visit, and that would be
What
great.
are the hours that somebody could go up to? What is your address? And what are the hours? If you don't know the address, I do. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I don't know. I should have put it on there, but you know,
Yeah.
if you have any questions, whenever, the Chinsegut at myfwc.com, and then the telephone number is 352-754-6722. The hours, the center is technically, right now we're going through some window replacements, so it's closed Fridays, closed this week, but Friday and Saturday, they're open, our center's open 8 to 2.
Okay,
Fridays
but the
and
trails
Saturdays.
are open.
The trails, everything is open. The center portion of the parking is open from 8 to about 4. But just remind you, if you are parking at the center, then just be mindful of the time, because
You'll
you know
be
that
stuck in there.
yeah, the gate is going to be closed.
Okay.
But you can
Yes,
go
and the
hiking in
address,
those.
if anyone who wants to know the address, is 23212 Lake Lindsay Road. And that's in Brooksville, up north of town, out in the beautiful Lake Lindsay. And it is well where I love when I happen to have to go out there, which will be Friday, so we
Yes.
can plan that bird event too.
That's
But thank you
fantastic.
very much, Alice. That
You
said,
are very welcome.
I learned a whole lot, and now you've made me want to. I wish it didn't get dark as soon as I got home, because I want to go out.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be there. It'll be there. You know, they're
Yeah.
slow growing. They're only like 1 millimeter a year, so I mean, they'll be there for you.
All right. Thank you very much, and thank you, everyone. And again, if you'd like a PDF of this program, please email me at LillyB, LILLYB at hernandocounty.us. Thank you, and we will see you again.
Bye-bye, everybody.